Welcome to this video where we explore the hypothetical scenario of detonating a nuclear bomb on Mars. Mars has long been a subject of fascination for humans. We've sent rovers and probes to explore its surface, and scientists have theorized about the possibility of colonizing the planet one day. But what if we took our exploration to the next level? What if we detonated a nuclear bomb on Mars? What if we detonated a nuclear bomb on Mars? This question may seem like science fiction, but it is a possibility that scientists and researchers have explored for decades. In this video, we will delve into the potential ramifications of such an explosion, both from a scientific and philosophical standpoint. We will examine the potential benefits and drawbacks of such an event and discuss what it could mean for our understanding of the cosmos. First thing to consider is the size of the bomb. The largest nuclear bomb ever detonated on Earth was the Tsar Bomba, a hydrogen bomb developed by the Soviet Union in 1961. It had a yield of 50 megatons of TNT. If we were to use a bomb of that size on Mars, it would create a crater about 12 miles wide and 3 feet deep. But what would be the point of detonating a bomb on Mars in the first place? Some people might argue that it could be a way to terraform the planet, making it more habitable for humans. Mars, our neighboring planet, has been a topic of interest for decades due to its similarity to Earth. Many space agencies and private companies are planning to send missions to Mars to study its geological features and to search for evidence of life. However, the atmosphere of Mars is thin, and the planet is cold, making it difficult for human habitation. Scientists have suggested various ways to terraform Mars to make it habitable, and one such proposal is to warm up the planet's surface using nuclear bombs. Elon Musk once proposed an idea to terraform Mars by sending nuclear weapons to its poles, which contain frozen water and carbon dioxide. The theory is that the energy released by the nuclear weapons would vaporize these elements into the atmosphere, creating a greenhouse effect that would warm up the planet and make it more habitable for humans. However, this idea has many flaws and uncertainties. While it's true that a nuclear explosion would release a lot of heat and energy, which could potentially warm up the planet and cause some of the frozen carbon dioxide at the poles to melt, the negative effects of such an explosion would far outweigh any potential benefits. What happens when a nuclear bomb detonates? Before we get into the specifics of detonating a nuclear bomb on Mars, let's first understand what happens when a nuclear bomb detonates. A nuclear bomb creates a massive explosion by releasing a tremendous amount of energy in the form of heat, light, and radiation. The explosion creates a shockwave that can cause destruction over a large area. First of all, let's talk about how much energy it would take to vaporize the frozen carbon dioxide that covers the Martian poles. Carbon dioxide is a key greenhouse gas that traps heat and warms up the atmosphere. According to some calculations, it would take about 1.14 times 10 to the power of 21 joules of energy to sublime all of the solid carbon dioxide on Mars into gas. That's equivalent to about 273 million megatons of TNT, or more than 18,000 times the total yield of all the nuclear weapons ever detonated on Earth. To put it another way, we would need to launch about 10,000 Tsar Bombas, the most powerful nuclear device ever tested by humans, at each pole. But even if we had enough nukes to do that, would it really work? Well, not exactly. The problem is that Mars has a very thin atmosphere compared to Earth, only about 0.6% of Earth's atmospheric pressure at sea level. This means that any gas released by the nukes would quickly escape into space or freeze again on the surface. Moreover, nuking Mars would also create a lot of dust and debris that would block out sunlight and cool down the planet instead of warming it up. And let's not forget about the radiation that would contaminate any potential life forms or future human settlements on Mars. One of the biggest problems with detonating a bomb on Mars is that it would create a massive amount of dust and debris, which would be kicked up into the atmosphere and would take years to settle back down. This would make it difficult, if not impossible, for any future missions to land on the planet or for humans to breathe the air. It's also possible that a nuclear explosion could trigger a runaway greenhouse effect on Mars, similar to what happened on Venus. The bomb could release large amounts of gases into the atmosphere, which would trap heat and cause the planet to warm up to a point where it becomes uninhabitable. Additionally, according to research, it would take an enormous amount of energy to vaporize all the frozen carbon dioxide on Mars, about 1.14 times 1021 J, which is equivalent to detonating more than 20 million Tsar Bombas. Moreover, even if all the carbon dioxide was released into the atmosphere, it would only increase the atmospheric pressure by about 1% of Earth's level, which is still not enough to sustain liquid water or life. Finally, when a nuclear bomb detonates in the air, it produces an enormous amount of heat and nitric oxide, which is a gas that reacts with ozone and depletes it. Ozone is essential for blocking harmful ultraviolet radiation from reaching the surface. Therefore, detonating nuclear bombs on Mars could potentially reduce its already scarce ozone layer and make it even more hostile for life. so nuking Mars is not a good idea if we want to make it more Earth-like. In fact, it would probably make it worse. A better alternative might be to use solar mirrors or asteroids to redirect more sunlight onto Mars, or to genetically engineer plants and microbes that can survive in harsh conditions and produce oxygen. But these methods are also very challenging and expensive, and may have unforeseen consequences as well. The detonation of a nuclear bomb on Mars is a fascinating thought experiment that raises important questions about our relationship with the cosmos. While the scientific benefits and drawbacks of such an event are intriguing, the philosophical implications are equally significant. As we continue to explore the universe, it is essential that we consider our impact on other worlds and our responsibility to protect them. The possibility of terraforming Mars is an exciting prospect, but we must approach it with caution and respect for the planet and its potential inhabitants, whether they are living or dormant. Beyond the scientific implications, the detonation of a nuclear bomb on Mars also has philosophical ramifications. This act would mark the first time humans have deliberately altered the environment of another planet. It would raise questions about our role in the universe and our responsibility to protect other worlds from our actions. Furthermore, it could lead to a new era of space exploration and colonization. If we are able to terraform Mars successfully, it could become a new home for humans, expanding our reach beyond our own planet. However, this could also have negative consequences, such as further damaging the environment and resources of another world. Benefit of detonating a nuclear bomb on Mars is the possibility of terraforming the planet. Terraforming is the process of making a planet habitable for humans. Mars currently lacks a magnetic field, which means it has no protection from solar radiation. Detonating a nuclear bomb on Mars could create an artificial magnetic field, which would protect any future human colonies on Mars from solar radiation. In conclusion, detonating a nuclear bomb on Mars can have both positive and negative impacts on the planet. The blast wave, radiation, thermal radiation, and impact on the Martian surface can all have significant consequences. However, it is important to note that detonating a nuclear bomb on Mars is not a practical solution for terraforming the planet. There are other ways to make Mars habitable, such as using greenhouse gases or introducing genetically modified bacteria that can produce greenhouse gases. It is crucial to study the planet and its environment thoroughly before making any decisions that can have long-lasting impacts on the planet. Thank you for watching this video, and I hope you have learned something new today. For now, Mars remains a mystery waiting to be uncovered.